welcome to the Accelerated Insights podcast. This is our first episode, and it is a look into how we do things at Accelerate Tech, our ways of working, our people, how we develop solutions. And it gives me great honor to introduce today our first guest, Safwan Karim, who's been with us for a couple of years now and is our resident Power Pages expert, amongst other things. Safwan, how you going?
Hey, good, James. How are you? Yeah, thank
Good,
you.
mate. Good.
Very excited for this podcast. So,
Yeah, and very special to have you on as guest number one. And what I wanted to do is go deep into Power Pages, and I think what I see you've developed and the frameworks that you've set up and the methodologies of how we do Power Pages. And the way that our team use Power Pages, it's very impressive. So, first of all, I think let's just go back to the beginning. I met you over 3 years ago now, I think, but you knew nothing of Power Pages. So, you're a software developer, and it'd be good to just understand your first, I guess, thoughts or views of Power Pages and how you got into it, how you upskilled and learned about it, and what you thought of it.
yeah. So obviously I came from a pro code background, like doing React, a little bit of mostly jQuery, HTML, and then worked on Azure Cloud quite a bit, but never really got into Power Platform. I've heard a bit about it and how it's no code and it's the way forward from custom applications. So yeah, after I joined with Accelerate Tech, it it was um, it was pretty good to get on board with Power Pages. And yeah, my initial thought was it's pretty powerful. You have security built in. You've got all those forms that you typically use, tables and whatnot. And then slowly, I guess, as I started building, the UI and the logic behind it, the UI wasn't super great with Power Pages, and I think that was the first thing that I started doing was creating like a sidebar that can collapse and expand, adding more sort of animations to make it more user intuitive, and then what else did I do? Yeah, making, I guess, the out-of-the-box forms that were there before. It was using Bootstrap 3, so it didn't really
Yeah.
good look that good. We were, I think, also using what was the style library that you recommended? I forgot.
Bulma, I think it was
Bulma,
Bulma.
yes,
Yeah.
Bulma. So Bulma is sort of like Bootstrap, and yeah, it had some good styling. So yeah, overall, I think my approach was let's see what comes out of the box, and then let's customize it using my previous knowledge of, JavaScript and CSS, HTML.
Yeah, I when I think you joined, it was in Bootstrap 3, and it was the way Power Pages is set up, or I think it was known as Power Apps portals then.
Yeah.
It was very hard to, I guess, style anything outside of that Bootstrap 3 design system. And whilst you could do it, what I saw is a lot of people breaking it. And look, I think we can all agree that Power Pages out of the box looks pretty crap. And you can tell it's a Power Pages site where the menu lands, sits on the top right of the screen, and they all look pretty similar and pretty generic, and they just don't really look that great, in my opinion, out of the box, obviously. But given it's fundamentally HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, it uses Liquid as well, you can, I guess what I saw is that, we can turn this into something a lot better, and really, I think make it look like any modern web app or website. So yeah, I saw a lot of benefits there, and I can't remember why we decided to use Bulma, to be honest, but I don't think it's a very popular library these days. And since then, it's up. Power Pages has upgraded to Bootstrap 5, I think. However, I don't. We don't really use Bootstrap with our Power Pages sites anymore, do we?
We, depending on the customer, so yeah, for mainly our New South Wales customers, they have the New South Wales design system, which comes with,
Mm.
it's sort of similar to Bootstrap, like they've built it really well, where they have their own classes, their own JavaScript as well, their own components, so forms, buttons, cards, accordion. So they've got all of these components, and they all link with the JavaScript that they've published as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of those customers, we try to cater to the New South Wales design system in Power Pages.
Yeah, so yeah, for those who don't know about the New South Wales design system, it's there's a lot of effort and work put into that by Digital New South Wales on essentially all of the building blocks and the components on how to build a website, but also a web app that conforms to the New South Wales design system, government design system. So you can pick that up and leverage that. It's got all of the CSS styles. It's even got components in React and the wireframes in Figma. So it's a really good asset. And other states that we've seen have their own style guides as well, which is really good. And I think what you're going to show today, Safwan, is how to leverage those design systems and create a custom Power Pages site using using the New South Wales design system, um, which will be very exciting to see.
Yep, yep, it sure is. So, do you want me to start sharing?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Awesome. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so what I'm sharing now is the New South Wales design system. And as I've told, like it comes with all of these things that you see. Even this documentation site is built with the system itself. So you can see how the headers is the navigation, navigation um, points and cards and footers. So all of these things are essentially hosted on this design system. And to keep things consistent for our customers, regardless of it being an external site, public-facing site, or internal government-facing site, we still try to utilize this design system so that they get a feel of how the end users, public users, are actually interacting with their system. So it helps in the user journey as well.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the box, what I've got today is I've got a basic Power Pages site that I created a few days ago, and this is using the starter template one, and this is what the out of the box Power Pages look like at the moment. So
Yeah,
you've got,
that looks familiar.
yeah. If
And
I
this
look
is
at
this
the
is Bootstrap 5, I think, powering this under the hood, right?
yes, so it's
Yeah.
Bootstrap 5, and they've also got some custom stylings just for Power Pages. And let's look at the form.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see the form over here, like, yeah, I mean, it has all the Bootstrap 5 components, but it doesn't look the best.
It's
And
okay. It
yeah,
does the job, but it's
yeah,
not,
it does the
it's
job.
not winning any design awards, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So what I have done, let me go back to my home.
And do you go to the new Power Pages Maker portal to set up your sites, or do you still do it from the old? Power Apps portal.
Oh, yes. No, I stopped using the Power Apps portal for Power Pages. So now,
Hmm.
just like you have make.power apps, now you also have
Hmm.
make.power pages like that.
Hmm.
So if you go in there, it will just pick your default environment that you have. So this is
Yep.
the Power Pages home.
Yeah, and
From
you've
here,
set
you
this up
can
in
change
a developer
environments.
environment. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can come here and change your environments. You can go to Admin Center and you can then start creating sites here as well. Now,
Yeah.
I do have like 3 sites in my dev environment, so I can't create any more. But
Oh,
that's
there's a limit of three, is there?
yes, in if you are using a developer license, if your environment is on the developer license tier, so you can see here it says Safwan's
Yeah.
developer environment. So I think you get 3 out of the box.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, and because Power Pages actually allows entry to your Microsoft tenant in
Hmm.
certain ways, you do sometimes need to be a global admin to create a Power Pages site. And that's something you can ask your admin. But if you're using developer license and you know it's in your personal tenant, you don't really need to reach out to
Yeah.
your enterprise IT team. Okay, so I'll quickly show you this site that I've done, and this is what we'll try to build in this call.
Hmm.
And this is again, it was an out-of-the-box starter template one Power Pages site, and I've customized it to use all the New South Wales components. And then if you look at the contact us form, I haven't done too much custom styling, so there'll still be some gaps between
Hmm.
the headers. But you'll see the form itself looks like a New South Wales form. So it has like these outlines. It has the submit button, which is similar to what the buttons are in New South Wales.
Yeah.
Um, and then things like this blue bar is just something I haven't removed. It comes out of the box, but you can go and remove them.
And yeah, those focus bars, I think that's what they're called, that came up before. They're that's part of the WCAG accessibility components that are built into the design system, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a really good thing with the design system is it comes with those accessibility. They've already done the work for making sure all the
Hmm.
colors match up and, the area labels are done correctly. So as you're copy pasting, I'll show you, the best ways of copy pasting stuff. But as you're doing that, you can just go through and update, those area labels and whatnot. This is also another example of how the out-of-the-box table looks like when styled with the New South Wales theme. So we
Hmm.
haven't actually used the tables that you see here, which let's go, I think pagination might show table. Not sure. No, there is. Let's just search tables. So this is sort of the out-of-the-box tables that New South Wales has. But because we want to have a data table and
Hmm.
really not put too much custom code into just showing a basic table, we can add some custom styles that takes in New South Wales CSS and basically puts it on top of the Power Pages table classes.
Yep.
And yeah, I'll show you that as well.
So you're not doing anything. These are just the out of the box components in Power Pages. They're not even the form. They're not custom, right?
They're not custom.
They're they're out of the box, but styled to that design system.
Yes.
Yep.
So I guess you have to decide when to use the hybrid approach or when to use full custom approach because um, in the hybrid approach, if you have a simple form, like these things are out of the box. You don't really need to code to get these things working.
Hmm.
So that's really good. But in cases where, you want an accordion, for example, which is one of their components, you would have to go custom because Power Pages out of the box, they don't have accordions, and then
Hmm.
these things, it's just better to do it custom and really make
Yep.
it look on brand.
Nice.
Okay, so the first thing you would need to do is let's open up the Design Studio, and then let's open up Power Pages Management as well. Yeah, I don't know why it's not loading. It's 3 times.
Maybe you're just sharing your screen. It's decides to go slow. So just while that loads, it's a lot of what we build at Accelerate is citizen or government to citizen portals, I guess you could say. So we use this design system pretty extensively. It's particularly for New South Wales government projects. So it's obviously our default go to for any portal where a citizen needs to interact with the New South Wales government, but also internal portals or inter-agency portals as well.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. And yeah, we have some reusable style sheets as well, which helps us to get this going a lot faster than when we originally started. So
So what are we
that's
looking
good.
at now?
Okay. So I'm just opening up the web files page on the Power Pages management just because it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to upload some of the CSS files that we'll need to upload now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I guess the first thing, if you're starting off with this design kit, is go to the getting started section over here. Sorry, not there. Getting started and develop. And then this will guide you in how to get started with this design system. So if you're using, you know, if you're not using Power Pages, if you're just using React or custom sites, you can use npm modules and you can import the styles.
It's
If
really
you're
good that
using,
they've got an npm
yeah,
package. It's really handy.
yeah, and they also show you like what things to import and then how to get started.
Mm-hmm.
The the way we'll do it is so we'll use the HTML, inserting the link or just uploading the file approach.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is two ways to do it. One is using the CDN. Um, However, I've done with the CDN, and anytime you use the CDN, like it points to their latest CSS file and
Mm-hmm.
their latest JavaScript file. So it's not actually pointing to a specific version of that files, the style and function. So what happens is if they do update their latest, your styling might be messed up.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
classes might not match up. So the best approach I normally would recommend is always downloading the CSS files and the JavaScript files.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, you know that the code you have is always going to be there unless you change it. And also, if you download the files, you can go and update the styles of the functions to make it more customized to what you want to do.
Yeah.
All right, so
And then
let's,
obviously, if there are new releases, you can load those into a development or test environment, see what breaks, patch those up, and
yep,
then push that upstream into production.
yes. So I'll do two ways of adding the code. The CSS file, I'll add it as a file, and for the
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript, I'll add it as the CDN just to show, how the two ways works. But yeah, you can use either ways, I guess, depending on your requirement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just extracting the HTML starter kit. Okay, so from here, you can go to CSS. I think the main.css is the one that we will need. And I'll just, so for this one, another thing that I like to do is, where's the design system? I think it's here. Let's go back. So this one is 3.20.0. So I just like to rename it. New South Wales dash
How often do they
3.20.
update the design system?
Maybe once a year I've seen, but actually last week I saw 3.19, and now
Hmm.
it's 3.20. So yeah, I guess depends on the workload, but once a year is safe to assume.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's add in the file over here. Now, one thing I don't know if you know, James, about Power Pages is if your URL, partial URL, ends with css.css, it actually pulls in that file on all pages. So
Hmm.
um, I struggled with that a bit because initially when I was started working with Power Pages, I added all my CSS file for each web page, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna pull in this file in this web page, but turns out they all get loaded in automatically,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was messing up all my styles, so that was
I remember there
something
used to
to
be a
learn.
trick. I mean, maybe it was with a JavaScript file where if you added it, you needed to rename it to a different file name because it got blocked. But I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
Yes, JavaScript file, if your environment does not allow js.js files, you would
Yeah.
have to go into the admin center and still unblock that extension. So that's
Hmm.
still the case as far as I
Yeah.
know. But CSS are fine. So, all right, so I've added this file. Now, one thing that I'll just highlight here, if I can, let me go to the web files from here because then I can add in some columns. And one of the column that's quite important is this display order column.
Ah, yes. Yes. This old thing.
And let me filter this side to our demo side, which is saying, which one is it?
Is it the New South Wales style portal?
Yeah, New South Wales. Yeah, did you see it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, this one is the demo. New
No, I
South
think it was.
Wales. There we go,
There you
80.
go.
Yeah, 80. Perfect. Let's order by display. So you'll see that these files here, they actually get loaded in terms of the display order. So the higher the display order, the higher it will be preferenced over lower ones.
Hmm.
So you can see it's 9, 10. So we actually want this to be 11 so that it gets preference over the other existing ones.
Yeah, I remember this in the past. If you didn't have the ordering right, oh,
Yeah.
rip your hair out trying to figure it out and play around with it. It was very frustrating.
Yeah. And then because we changed something in the Power Pages management to actually pull it into this Design Studio, you have to click sync.
Hmm.
But if you change anything here or if you change it in VS Code online, which we'll do quite a few times now,
Hmm.
you can just click preview and it will load up the changes.
So that refreshes the cache and all that stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you had to do manually before. Yep, yep.
And then if you look at the styling on the left here, you'll see that our style sheet has been added.
Hmm.
And also if we go to,
Oh, if you just go back to
yes,
Design Studio. So I remember, yeah, if you uploaded that custom CSS there, right, and you didn't go into the management portal where you were before,
yep,
it would appear that you've uploaded it, but it may not work because you didn't have the order correct. Is that right?
yes, yes. If you
Because
don't
there's no
have
way
the
to change the
order,
order here.
yeah, it will just it'll, if you don't add in the order, like it doesn't always show the new file has been added.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I don't know if it's a sync issue or if it's just adding the order actually does this trick.
Yep.
But yeah, I've seen once you add the order, it shows up here, and then you can actually, if you have multiple of these here, I don't know if they've changed it, but there was a way to actually reorder the style sheet.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can like click push up, push down, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's open this up. Okay, so if we look at the inspector and look at the CSS files that gets pulled in, you'll see that our CSS file gets pulled in after the portal basic, the theme, and the bootstrap main.
Mm-hmm.
So that just means that the display order is working. But you can also see there are some other styles that gets pulled in. So some of these styles actually there will be a roadblock in your styling this entire thing, but we can work through that as we go along.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing we would want to do is let's go back to our instructions because we've added the style sheet
Mm-hmm.
here, and I said I will just add the JavaScript as a CDN to show
Mm-hmm.
both ways. And the best place to actually do that, no, I need my VS Code to load. There might be a sign in pop up.
So this is it Code Spaces or is it the online editor in Visual Studio Code?
That's the VS Code online editor, which is, yeah, my machine's just lagging a bit, but the VS Code Online editor has come a long way since it was released in Power Pages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, when I started, it was, I think, after maybe a year or 6 months, they added the VS Code Online editor, and there was an issue where you would update maybe the CSS file or the JavaScript file, and it wouldn't reflect back onto your portal instantly. And there was
Yep.
a delay of, it's just some random delay, which made it very hard to, edit and then come back and test. I had to result to doing it locally, pushing up the changes using PackCLI, which seemed to work a bit better. But now VS Code has improved a lot, and yeah, I tend to do all my coding, any sort of pro code things on the VS Code Online editor, and then sync it
So
to
not even in VS Code
show.
Desktop and then push it up. Use the online editor.
Yes, yeah,
Wow. Okay. That's
it's
really good.
yeah, it's a lot better. Obviously, if you have VS Copilot in VS Code locally, you won't get those Copilot features yet.
Mm.
Um, However, they do have some level of Copilot built into VS Code Online for
Mm-hmm.
specifically for Power Pages, but I haven't used it as much. Um, I've heard it's good, but yeah, it has some limitations, so I just prefer to do it manually for now until uh, it's a lot better.
So you're not vibe coding the sites.
Yeah, yeah. You want to vibe code when you know the AI agent can
Yeah.
perform well. Okay, so because the CSS file gets loaded automatically for all sites, the JavaScript, I'll add it in the header, and that's because the header, most of the time it gets loaded on all pages. So I'll just add in this section here, which is recommended by the design system.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, we want to check whether, the CSS and the HTMLs the JavaScript are working. One of the ways I like to test is with this hero banner. I quite like, the puppy over here and
Mm-hmm.
dreamy eyes. So,
I'd
yeah,
say no to that puppy.
yeah, you can quite easily just copy this entire thing, and then because we want to actually update at the home page, we can go into the home web template.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, is it the home web template? Sorry, not the home web template. It's better to go to the home web pages and then do it there. So the difference between obviously web page and home web pages and web templates is web templates can be reused in multiple places, in
Yep.
which case, our header, we want it to be reused in multiple places.
Mm-hmm.
But, in this case, we just want to change the home page. So we'll just remove everything there and then put this here. But once we update the VS Code, click preview and then click here, and then it should start showing
Hey, there we go.
the component. Now you can see how, this text isn't really working.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the styling is conflicting with some of the out of the box Power Pages styles. If
Yep.
we go color, you'll see that this Portal Basic theme, it
Mm.
has all of these color issues.
So
Now,
even though
yeah,
you've added the order as a higher order, it's still pulling in the Portal
yeah,
Basic theme or
yeah,
defaulting to that.
yeah. Now the reason for that is with CSS you have what you call um, it prefers when you have lots of rules in one CSS rule over rules like this where, there's like one, two, maybe there's like two class you're targeting here, whereas over here you're targeting more than two classes. So
Mm-hmm.
in terms of CSS logic, this will be preferred over this one because it's targeting more elements compared to this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the
Interesting.
way to get around this is I'll cheat a bit and I'll copy some of the codes I've previously done. So let's go to Portal Basic. So this is I'll just put it here so it doesn't confuse everyone. So what we can do is there's two ways of actually tackling this, right? So you can add in some custom CSS in a custom CSS file, and you can override this logic. Or to make this demo simpler, I'll just go into the web files and I'll find the Portal Basic. And what I'll do is I'll just scroll all the way to the bottom and I'll add in this piece of CSS code, which will actually revert your styles that was set initially. So
Yep.
if I save this, refresh this, and then indication refresh, hopefully so you can see that work. And I think there's another style we're missing, which is this hero banner. Now, my recommendation is always put your custom styles in a separate CSS file. So I
Mm-hmm.
would probably add in, you know, custom CSS file or something, and then I will add in this code here. But just for the sake of time, like I'm adding it here.
Because that may get updated or overwritten
Yes,
by well, I
Power
guess yeah,
Pages themselves.
Power Pages when it updates, yeah.
Yeah.
And what order would you put that in that file with that when you uploaded that into the management portal?
You
So
would
if you created
probably,
a
yeah,
custom one for your additional changes.
you would put it, um, the auto should be higher than the multi New South Wales style sheet. So if we did 11 for New South Wales, your um, custom one should be 12,
Yeah.
right? Because you want your
Yeah.
custom code to be preferred over the general New South Wales code as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can see doing that revert and actually added another piece of code, which is this one here with the hero banner to make this white as well. So this
Yeah.
has revert check. Now also another thing you'll see that the fonts are not really matching what maybe it is, maybe it's not. Fonts, there is another thing that they want you to do, which is, maybe I'll show that later actually because it'll make more sense. Okay, so now you know that your code is sort of working, like you've got the CSS working. Next
Yeah.
thing is to actually get the navigation in. So if I go search main navigation, and then you can pick, anyone from here, but I'll just pick this one.
Yeah.
And then because this is navigation, you want this to be in the header web template. And the best approach, what I've seen, because they already have this navigation code written here, if you're starting off new, it's better not to delete this existing code, but initially just add on it. And then what you can do is start copying these logics and put it in your custom HTML. That way, you don't have to like manually put in like home, pages, contact us. You don't have to put in these links at the top. You can copy their liquid code and you can customize this HTML to actually dynamically add in those navbar elements.
Yeah. I think a lot of people get stuck with the header, and yeah,
Yeah,
because the way they've structured it in the liquid files and referencing other content snippets and
yeah,
things like that. Okay,
yeah. So
so
that's where you use their logic and make it work.
you've added that in, but that header at the top, then what would you do
Yep.
with that?
So we would, once we copy over the liquid logic from this
Mm-hmm.
header into our header, we'll remove this one. So our target is to make it look like this header here,
Uh huh.
where
Yeah.
you can see like the login and everything is actually on the top bar here, and
Yeah.
we've completely removed this thing.
Yeah. You
Um,
wouldn't want to leave it like that. That'd
yeah,
look confusing.
yeah. Uh, and one other thing you can see is like this search bar, like search icon, like the icon is not there, right? And
Hmm.
this is because we haven't completed the full getting started steps, and
Mm-hmm.
that is to pull in the fonts and the icons. Now, this one again, because it's what is it? Because it's like it's well maintained by Google. I generally just put in this entire link instead of downloading the file. But again, it's personal preference. You can download the file and you can put it in
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing the link approach. And because we wanted to again go across all the other pages, I've added inside the header HTML web template. Now, if we refresh, we should see the icon showing up.
Nice. Does it work?
Yes. Well, I
Hmm.
mean, this one works. Now you can see it works because we've also put in the JavaScript.
Yep.
So actually, if I convert this into mobile width, you see that the menu functionality also works, and these are all custom JavaScript that New South Wales have put in. So I don't have to
Nice.
actually do anything here. Um, the only thing probably I'd have to do is, if they're searching something, I would have to write the logic to then search based on this input and then
Mm-hmm.
update the UI.
Yeah, that's a really nice mobile experience.
Yeah,
That flyout.
Okay, so now let's start looking at actually, before we jump onto that, the other thing that I would normally do is the footer. So these are, your basic, very easy
Mm.
changes. So I prefer the black footer here. So I'll just copy that, go to my web templates because footer, you want it on all your pages. And I'll just paste this here. And then you see that the footer is there as well. And you can
Yeah.
go across to other pages and you'll see that the header and footer are consistent.
And if you were building a page or building a site that didn't have any login capability, it
Yeah,
was it had forms and maybe some data tables, but it was a publicly accessible website or anonymously accessed as they call it.
yep,
You could hide that whole header entirely, right? And not even have a sign in or showing a login at the top,
yeah,
correct?
yes. So there are a couple of ways you can do that. Um, let's say this is what the home page, right? So if I go to page template in my photo management, and if I filter by this one, I think it's, I forgot, maybe it's in the web page, yes, actually. So there is option, I'll just pick any home page. There is option to actually remove the header from your page template.
All right, I see what you mean. So just remove it
Partial,
altogether.
yeah. Um, is this? No, this is the web page. But in your web page template, you can create a page template, and you can see here it says under page template it says use website header and footer. So if you untick this, Power Pages will remove those header and footer from those pages wherever you use
Right.
this page template. So you might create a page template that basically says no header, no footer.
Mm-hmm.
The default one uses header footer, and that's why it's called the default studio template. But you can just copy this web template and create like another page template, and you won't have any header or footer. But personally, I recommend doing against that just because with the header comes a couple of your basic style sheets that you want across all your pages. So I generally try to keep the header and footer, and what I do
Mm-hmm.
is if I don't need the sign in, I just remove the sign in using CSS or JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
That way you're getting all your header components and files
Yeah.
and codes that you need, but you're also hiding this from the user. Okay, so now when we want to actually convert the current Power Pages header to New South Wales header, what we can do is you can copy this entire section actually. I'll just copy it over here. So I have split screen view and it's easier to copy paste. And then what I want is to get the navigation working. So the navigation would be this, where is it? This li, this nav link here. This is the navigation. So you can see in the liquid it says assign primary navigation. So whatever primary navigation you have in your, in the no code way, you can add in your navigations. So I think it's web link sets. And then there is like primary navigation, which is over here. And then on the links, you'll see that there's like 1, 2, 3. All of these links are actually in our portal pages. So you can update these links, and then you can use this liquid basically to create the dynamic links. over here, so your New South Wales links. So what I'll do is I'll just remove these links from here, and I'll just keep this li, and I'll copy this liquid from here. Do some styling. Okay, so over here it basically says the so here you want to, I'm copying from here, but I've got another code that I've already done it, so I don't have to waste time thinking of what I'm doing. But this liquid code is here, so it basically says for each navigation, each link in the navigation, and as you're actually doing this liquid syntax, make sure to close off these if and for, otherwise you'll get liquid errors, and the liquid errors are not always that helpful. So yeah, best to do that. And then you can basically remove this a link and copy in this code that they have here. So you can see it says href equals this is this. So they're getting the link from the liquid object and then the escaping for any syntax, and then putting that as the link. And you can also add in like the tooltip links, which is part of the link set form over here. And then the text here, which is your the text would be somewhere here. This link name is the text. So you can now copy that here. And let's see how that goes. So now you can see home, pages, contact us. These are all here.
Nice, nice.
And there is like these sub pages, which I won't do for this demo, but you can add in sub pages. And again, all the logic is here. So you just need to copy it from here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really cool.
Now the sign in. So for the sign in, there are two ways you can put the sign in from what we've done. If you don't need the search bar, you can actually put the sign in button over here on the search bar, and I have an example picture of that. Like this is, a website we've done where we don't need the search functionality, and you can put this sign in button or the profile name button over here instead of putting it at the very top over here. But for this demo, I want to keep the search button. So what I'll do is I'll add it at the top on the right here.
And so
yes.
When you add any other pages and specify it as a sub page or a navigation item or a sub navigation item, you're basically keeping the rules there in that navigation bar. So you don't really have to go and customize it further with code. Like if you add another page and it's a navigation, then it shows up.
Yeah, if I add another page, I'll say test page. Hopefully this is the right website, and external link I'll just say google.com. Yep. Let's save that. And then because we've changed here, we probably need to do the sync. Oh, actually, I just figured there's a much easier way to add the link, which is you can add it here. So you can add a page here.
Yeah.
So if actually, that's a good point because I do need to add in a table page. So let's add this here. And then if I scroll up, you'll see that the table page is now over here, right?
Very nice.
And if I, refresh this, there we go. So you're still keeping the no code or low code experience by using those fetch liquid syntax.
And I guess for anyone watching that is new to Power Pages and getting a little bit confused because you've opened up three, I guess, different ways or portals to edit, that's just by the way that Power Pages has evolved over time. So there's multiple ways to configure and update Power Pages. You know what, in the design studio, that's kind of, I'd say, your very entry level, surface level if you want to do some basic stuff. But then when you want to dive deep, you go into the management portal where it's got, I guess, more of that content management capability and VS Code for editing the code itself. Yeah,
Yep.
but I can
Yeah, spot on.
totally appreciate why people might be a little bit confused and not have it in one portal. But that's just what we've got to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, initially, the management was first, right? And it
Yes.
wasn't that user-friendly, and then they moved on to the design studio, but they still kept some of the more complex advanced features are still in this management portal, and you can't do it from here, but they're slowly moving
Yeah,
towards
I'd imagine
this.
someday they'll depreciate that and everything will be in the design
Yeah,
studio, but it seems like that's still far
yeah,
away.
a bit far off. Okay,
Okay.
so let's quickly do the sign in. And with this sign in, now I've copied this code across here. So if I scroll down, what I'm looking for is this user liquid code.
Mm-hmm.
And this basically says if anytime this is true, which means the user has logged in. So it's saying if the user is logged in, then show things like the profile page and then things like the sign out button. But if they haven't logged in, then show them the sign in button, right? And
Yeah.
that's pretty much what we want to show in the very top blue section over here. And to do that, I'll put in some custom inline styling, which I do not recommend. You should always use CSS files for this sort of styles. But again, due to time constraints, I'm just taking the easy way out. So I've added in the existing news. This is a government site. And then what I'll do here is I'll copy in this liquid syntax. So if user else show this thing here, I'll just end the if and get them all lined up. Okay. Um, I always take a step-by-step approach. So I do something, I test, and then I come back. So in this case, if I'm not signed in, I want to see this this login button, and I'll just copy this entire link button here, and we can worry about the styles later. And let's do that. So I've saved it, preview, come in here, and then you can see like the style sign is there, but again, CSS is messing that up.
Hidden almost.
Yeah, yeah. So the way to fix this is, again, put in some custom code, custom style code, and then that will fix itself. So for now, I'm just gonna put inline style over here, and I'll just add in style color equals white. So I'll just force it to be white. And then while we're doing that, let's also do the if user. So I'll say I'll copy this everything over here up until, let's say, this li, because we're not putting this in an li, it's just by itself. We just need to copy this link and then not worry about the list element. So let's see how that works. So the sign in is there. Now if I click on it, this will take me to the default sign in page. And now you can see like this drop down is there, right? So,
Yep.
you know, again, you can make this a lot prettier and everything, but I'm trying to keep as much as out of the box functionalities as possible while doing this styling as well.
Yeah, so just a point on that if user, that can be used anywhere throughout your Power Pages site, and it's the, I guess you could call it, the out of the box security mechanism that Power Pages uses to show content, well, securely to logged in users versus not logged in. So by using those liquid syntaxes, you can start to construct elements within pages, or even templates that are only viewable by authenticated logged in users.
Yep. And anytime you use, this liquid syntax, it's all server side. So, it's not like you have like if user code here, there's like sensitive code, and then if someone logs in, someone anonymous user goes into the site, they will see this code hidden in the HTML. It's not like that. So all of this code is
Exactly.
sent from the server. So yeah,
Yeah, they can't get
these
into
are
the
quite
console
secure.
or query it.
Yeah.
It would appear as, well, nothing or HTML if
Yep.
if it's not logged in. So that's good.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so now we have done that. We can quite safely get rid of this piece of code here. It's always tricky to know which exact piece of code needs to be removed, but let's just remove that. And then if current page, you probably don't need that, but I don't think this will actually show up, so I'll just keep it for now. And then there we go. So now you've got your navigation working, you've got login, logout, profile working, and
Nice.
yeah. So I guess the next step would be to actually, make these out of the box elements look better. And I won't be able to go into everything that goes into doing that, but I'll show you. I'll talk through some of it. Um, and before I do that, we'll need to upload a new file, a new CSS file, and this is our Accelerate Tech New South Wales reusable CSS file.
Mm.
Now, this is the file that I've said that we have spent some good amount of time putting all the custom CSS styles in so that the out-of-the-box Power Pages classes inherits these styles from New South Wales design system.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's the file that I'm uploading here. And then I forgot, I think it's like 12. I'll just say 13 just to be safe. So this will be loaded at the very end, and which means it will most likely get the highest preference unless there's like CSS rules blocking it.
So that's
Okay,
all the ongoing sort of investments and time that you've spent,
yep.
and others at Accelerate into enhancing and making this design system work for Power Pages.
So you'll see when I sync and then come to the styling, the custom CSS, you'll see this one is at the bottom, and you do have that option to move up and down. So I guess the lower it is, the higher preference it will be, or it's going to be loaded in at the end.
The lower the
So
higher. Yeah, it's a bit of
yeah.
a confusing.
Yeah. So you can see here my reusable New South Wales CSS has been loaded after
Yep.
the normal New South Wales. Now, I don't know if you remember the previous view that the form had, but it instantly looks more New South Walesy with
Well, there's a big
out
line
of the
that's missing
box.
now. There was a few
Yeah,
lines there that
yeah.
were looked a
And
bit
then the
off.
button color is gone. Um, and then these are things that, these spaces are things that is again coming out of the box with Power Pages components, but we can customize that as well. Um, but that's that. Let's quickly, just to finish things off, let's go into the table page and let's add in a list. So yeah, why not put in the AI intelligence in there. And then let's go create your list. So these are things that you would have had to do before in the Power Pages management
Hmm.
app, which now you can do it from here. So I'm
Yep.
basically saying, okay, I want to show this active accounts list over here, and then it will come up with some permissions that I need to configure. And then I'm just going to give read access, and I'm just going to give authenticated users access to this.
Yep. That's a web role that you're
Yep.
configuring there. Yep.
Now I like how they made this a lot easier, but if you do want to do it manually, you can go into security and then table permissions. And
Yep.
this is basically what I just added in now. Okay,
Yeah, I do like the new table permissions view
yeah.
that they've built into the portal. The pages maker portal. It's a mouthful.
Okay, so if we go into table page now, hopefully all our sync has come through. Let's just collapse this for now, and you'll see that, the table instantly looks a lot better than maybe should have shown you how the table looked before, but not like this for sure.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look
Um,
like that.
yeah. Now, how did we actually obviously, do this styling? So if we take a look at, let's refresh this and let's see if the web accelerator text CSS loaded up. If not, just refresh this and it should load up. We don't need this, so let's remove that. Okay, so reusable New South Wales Accelerate CSS. So if we look at what we have in this code, there is there's a couple of variables that I'm defining, and this has been worked on by other Accelerate Tech members as well. So kudos to them. And what we're basically doing is we're saying, okay, all the buttons, all the elements, they should be using New South Wales font family. All the P tags and A tags, like they should have inherit color, inherit font size, which means it's going to remove the out of the box Power Pages colors and font size, and then you can later set it to be New South Wales font size and colors and everything. So scroll down, you'll see we've got some comments here. So navbar table, and we've got like bootstrap buttons. We should have like a forms as well. Scroll down, so input. So all of these sections here, they are targeting the out of the box elements from Power Pages, and we have gone into the style components over here. We've actually clicked on this button. We understood the styles that are put here for, let's say, this tab view, and then we've come here. We have found the tab classes in Power Pages, and we have manually copied across those styles here, so that next time, when the page loads up for those elements, it's going to have the New South Wales styling. So
Yeah,
yeah,
instead of the change that you made earlier on, where you were editing the portal the basic portal theme, and
Yep.
which is not best practice. That is basically that code, but in your custom
Yes.
CSS file, and
Yep.
that's yep,
So yeah, that code can actually just live here, and I'm pretty sure I am targeting. You see here, like I'm targeting some of these things over here in my
yep.
reusable. So the idea is that, next projects we can just copy this reusable.
Mm-hmm.
We can copy the New South Wales CSS JavaScript file, and then we don't have to spend time customizing forms and tables to look like New South Walesy.
Yeah, that's really quick,
Yep.
really quick. I mean, even if there's government agencies out there watching this and they don't have a design system, I think well, obviously they've got a probably have a brand styling and from their website. They could quickly start building that out, and anytime they want to spin up a new portal, they've got those reusable assets there to quickly load them up. And I mean, this hasn't taken that long at all. We've been talking for about an hour.
Yeah. You as long as you know which liquid syntax to copy, which takes some bit of practice, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's an ongoing thing. But once you build one page, you can really easily just copy paste across, and then off you go.
Yeah, I think any person who's got the background experience of web design, development, who knows CSS, JavaScript, HTML, Liquid's probably just the anomaly there, which they'll need to spend a bit of time on learning that. And Liquid is, if I'm not mistaken, Shopify created that language, and
Yeah,
I think open sourced it. But yeah, that's what's driving Power Pages is well, from that server side code is Liquid.
yeah.
Um,
So Microsoft actually, Power Pages has documentations on liquid objects that is available here. So you can look at like the operators, the objects, the liquid types. So, this is where I go if I want to find out, let's say, for the user, right? Like what properties does the user have? So I can just go liquid objects, user, and then over here, not over here, they made it a bit harder for the user. I don't know why, but click on entity and then you'll see that it has like a GUID, sorry, it has ID that you can use. So you can go user.id, and then yeah, there's like other, you can get the web links, which I think we've used for the navigation. So you can use these objects and then yeah, extend as much as you can.
nice. All right, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, yep, good.
So what would be wrapping up? What's if you were to leave with one bit of parting advice to someone who is getting started with Power Pages or becoming proficient and wanting to learn more? What would you suggest?
I would recommend looking at lots of Power Pages videos on how you want to do things, because yeah, there's a very big Power Pages community out there. I'm one of them, and I know a lot of other people who actually actively post tutorials and videos, things like that.
Mm.
So do that. Have a use case that you can practice on. So I want to build this page for XYZ. Those are the cases where you will actually get proper use cases, proper
Yeah,
features that you want to implement, and then it's just finding out how you can implement that. And because Power Pages have been migrated from Power Portals to Power Pages, there are a few things you have to do in the management side, a few things you can do in VS Code and in Design Studio. Um, it's about learning where to actually write the code or what settings to change to get that feature. So out of the box, it does come with quite a lot of things, especially security and site settings is one of them. So yeah, just have a use case, go through that, and then start looking at the community um, expertise for help.
Nice. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Safwan. That was very informative. Brought back lots of memories from when I used to get my hands dirty.
Hmm.
And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, James. Catch you. Bye.